It's game one. And to the upper left, in the blue here, he's got one series to his name already, looking to really try to lock up a playoff berth early in this group. For Mouse, it's HeRoMaRinE.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right. He needs this one badly. For Navi, it is Spirit. And if you didn't already see it in the previous match, the two of these players, we did have HeRoMaRinE 2-0 Gumiho in very impressive fashion in a TVT already. And we had on the mainstream, Spirit went down 1-2 to Scarlet. So a lot of question marks on in terms of players' form. You know, Scarlet, HeRoMaRinE, both of them players we weren't too sure about coming into this event, and they both pretty much shone. Now we've got, yeah, a very desperate situation for Spirit. He does not want to be going down 0-2 against players that he's kind of on the, well, players that frankly he needs to beat in order to secure a playoff spot.
Yeah, very much Sean Steadfast. I thought this was Gabe and Piotr. But anyway, HeRoMaRiNE's doing something a little bit greedy as we take a look at things. It's I mean, it looks like a Reaper. There we go. I was like waiting for this. Command center on the high ground goes down. HeRoMaRiNE kind of taking a page out of Gumiho's book from game one, right? We saw him go. That was on Hecate, of course, not Oceanborn, but we saw him go for that single Rax expand. That was with a bunch of Marauders with concussive shell to try to deal with the Cyclone builds. You know, Steadfast, call me a madman, call me crazy. I don't think, despite the HeRoMaRiNE mirroring the builds for right now, I don't think we're gonna see that from the biggest of games.
No, I don't think we'll see, unless HeRoMaRiNE came up with it himself. He's not gonna look at a build that he saw one player do. I cannot imagine he ad-libs it and says, oh, that was a cool idea, let me just incorporate it into one of the biggest tournaments of the year, you know, just kind of riffing off of it. We are seeing something very interesting from HeRoMaRiNE, though. Usually when you go one Rax expand, it's Reaper Marine, but in this case he's gone Reaper, and that's rather interesting. Whereas Spirit, he went one Reaper straight into Reactor into extremely fast Cyclones. So he is going to have a lot of Cyclones. Okay. Is this looking to catch a Cyclone on the map? Very early Widowmine. That is so surprising. Okay, so does a double Widowmine Reaper play, does that kill a Cyclone? Right, that's my question, because a Widowmine by itself doesn't kill a Cyclone. It does. Does it? Yep. It's just an interaction you almost never see, but it does kill a Cyclone. Yeah, I'm very surprised. It feels wrong. Yeah, it does. Where is he putting that? Okay, he's putting the Widowmine in the front. The thing is, if the Reaper can soak that mine, does HeRoMaRiNE... Okay, he is going very fast siege tank, but if Spirit gets in here with 4 Cyclones and he's able to soak the Widowmine, oh my god, he's going across the map with this. If these 4 Cyclones... Oh my god. Okay, they're not going to see it. So this is either very good or very bad for HeRoMaRiNE, and no, it's just very bad for HeRoMaRiNE. 4 Cyclones in the natural, there's nothing to defend. And HeRoMaRiNE, he does not have first mover's advantage. His drop is not there just yet, so he's going to have to get so much damage done with this. 7 SCVs down immediately. The tank's going to try to siege up, and luckily, there's no lock-on. If you're HeRoMaRiNE, there's no lock-on on the siege tank just yet, but it's 9 SCVs dead. I don't know that this drop has the potential to get the damage that's being done right now. Yeah, this is the weirdest drop from HeRoMaRiNE on the other side of the map. There is going to be a Raven. There's going to be Cyclones. There'll be 4 Cyclones. Oh, that Widowmine will not go off. 15 SCVs go down. There's still a Cyclone alive in the other main base. I don't know what this build was from HeRoMaRiNE, but to say it didn't pay off is really underselling it. Maybe he wasn't expecting this many Cyclones this quickly, but I mean, it's the Cyclone meta. It's Attack of the Clones. You're gonna see some clones, my dude. Dave, how long have you been sitting on that Attack of the Clones joke? Like, oh man, I've been using it constantly.
It is not going away. Like CGI in 2002, it will never get better. That is the absolute peak. Oh my God. Oh, do not lose this drop.
It's not
okay, neither player was paying attention.
I mean, it's only a single lockout. I realize if Spirit had been paying attention, he would have gone.
Yeah, he would have killed that for sure.
Yeah. But at this point, you're here, Marine, and you are down 12 workers, 10 workers. He's gonna.
Oh,
no, okay, the boost is there.
Oh.
It's gonna be a dead hellion at the very least. So we move on. Right here, Marine, you're down pretty significantly here. What are you doing to come back into this game? Is it a big push? We saw him down, at least slowed down by Gumiho in game 1 of that last series, and he just maxed out. It was like a 2.5 base all in, right? He went to 6 racks early. He was able to hit that big timing. Maybe use it. Maybe having the baiting a bunch of cyclones into your tanks in the high ground. This is a really nice position. Maybe this is what HeRoMaRinE needs. If that is, Spirit decides to attack into it instead of HeRoMaRinE attacking into Spirit cyclones, which is that's not nearly as good.
No, it certainly is not. And the fact that, oh man, look at this. We've already got the cyclones whittling down this Marine count so much. There are a lot of tanks here. But Interference Matrix is now complete. We've got 3 Ravens. They're all, at least, they're basically all 3 of them are going to be able to pop down an Interference Matrix when this attack gets in here. Spirit already kiting super hard against this. Not to mention the fact that he has his own tanks. Like, if HeRoMaRinE tries to push here, he's just going to get squashed, I think.
Well, it kind of also feels like the only thing he really has available. No, knocking down a couple Cyclones early, that's solid. And he's going for a push, but it's not really a push, right? He's looking for that siege up onto the high ground to delay things. He's going to see you've got a third base here, and I don't know that I can break your naturally really all that easily, but Marines are going to show up on the high ground now. We do not, well, no, we do have stim. No, we don't. No, so no stim for HeRoMaRinE, not even started. He's adding in more Ravens, absolutely. And the third base is going to take some damage, but without stim steadfast, the opportunity to go and really dive on top of this just doesn't really feel like it's going to be there. In Spirit, he's going to have his
Liberators
enough. Liberators are here as well, and there is
that's perfect.
Nothing to you shut down the Liberator on the high ground.
It doesn't.
Nope, that's not going to work.
No, it buys you a couple of seconds. It buys you the ability to escape with the army is what it does. But this was a very dedicated push. You mentioned the fact that there's no stim. That's a big problem. Scan comes in from Spirit. He sees that the army did not go further back, so he knows he can't just run in here. HeRoMaRinE was hoping for a little bit of ambush, but Spirit was able to prevent that. And the damage from early on, obviously, it's continued to like Spirit has never lost his lead, so he's continued to stay ahead. And now with a massive potential auto turret drop in the main base, Spirit is probably going to get a bunch more workers here.
Well, you never know. He could like slap his keyboard wrong and drop them in the wrong spot, I guess. He really is not. I mean, the Vikings are here. That's solid, but there are too many auto turrets. There's just too many auto turrets on the map. They're actually hunting. The Ravens are hunting the Vikings down steadfast. That doesn't really seem like something that should happen, but I mean, this auto turret, it's 11 workers down, and there are more, so he's going to get a Raven. He's going to get a Raven, so even with this, eventually, you've got to assume that this is going to get chased down, but it's 12 SCVs down. It's knocking a Raven down. It might even, do we have energy dropping auto turrets? It might even get one of these Vikings. It's going to get one of the Vikings, too. It's not going to get the second. This, yeah, you know what? Losing Ravens doesn't feel all that great, but 14 SCVs, a couple Vikings, a Raven. I think we take those.
Yeah, that is a ton of SCVs. Now, it does create an interesting situation where finally HeRoMaRinE has an advantage in the game. He has 2 Ravens to 1, but that is a really small advantage. He does actually have 8 tanks to 6, but there is air superiority still for Spirit. I think the correct decision right now from Spirit is to continue to build those Vikings. The Liberators, even though he traded them out, there's still so much value. Spirit, I love this. He's getting missile turrets in the main base. He knows he's ahead. He knows he's in really pretty much dominant control of this game. HeRoMaRinE really needs to find something, and I just don't know what he can possibly find. This is not a situation like we saw versus Gumiho in that first series where, you know, he was on like 66 workers. He could really power up hard, and Gumiho didn't really recognize that there was this big 3-base committal. This time, Spirit is a lot more on top of this, and he's getting a second starport rather quickly. So the potential of HeRoMaRinE somehow resting air control is very limited. I really don't know what HeRoMaRiNE's plays are in this game.
It has to be playing around the map. It has to be playing side map pressure, looking for some level of surrounds and counterattacks, and just not allowing Spirit to do what Spirit wants to do while you slowly claw your way back. But I mean, you talked about it. Spirit's doing such a good job. Missile turrets everywhere. Sensor towers going down outside of the fourth base, scanning where HeRoMaRiNE's army is. That is making it really hard. So HeRoMaRiNE's moving forward here. He's down about 12 army supply, but you'd mentioned it earlier. His tank count's just a little bit better. He's got that Raven advantage. If he can get a really good siege, if he can get some really nice tank shots, maybe that's giving up. But these Cyclones from early on, they're going to try to dive right on top of this tank. First shot goes, second shot goes, but yeah, this is going to be that much more damage. Although, look, it's a hug of death. It's doing a pretty good job making sure the damage isn't really there, but gets on top of one of these tanks. Anti-armor missile goes down on both sides. And while that doesn't give Spirit a fight, it denies the fight of HeRoMaRinE. It denies that pressure out of HeRoMaRinE. It buys more time for Spirit to get closer to maxing out, to get more upgrades maybe, to get into this 2-2, to get Liberators out, to establish a better position. So HeRoMaRinE continues to pressure, absolutely, but he's not really able to get substantive damage done, and Spirit's got a fourth base. He's going to have Liberator range on the way soon. It just keeps getting better and better.
Interference Matrix. Oh, wow. The Ravens actually did get their spells off on the frontline tanks, and that should allow HeRoMaRinE to get some big picks there. Able to take two of his opponent's tanks down. Spirit does not actually need to hold this base necessarily. The worst thing he can do is take a bad fight into HeRoMaRinE. He's about to have 2-2. He's about to have those Liberators. He's teched so hard during all this and has continued to build workers and is still slightly ahead in army supply. As long as he doesn't take a disastrous fight, this should still be fine for Spirit, but HeRoMaRinE is creating an opportunity where Spirit could make a tragic blunder.
That being said, HeRoMaRiNE's lost the air lead, and he's never going to get it back. This is 5 Vikings on the way at a time right now for Spirit. So there was that nice siege. You had 5 Vikings, you had that lead, but Liberators are here now. Lib range, we don't have Lib range just yet. Doesn't really matter. That Viking lead is just, again, it's gone. It never will stay, but I like this. Hey, dropping a couple Marines on top of a tank, knocking it down. Friendly fire is not so friendly. So HeRoMaRinE, he is moving forward. All right, he's trying to make that push up. It doesn't really happen, but again, the Viking lead's the problem. He's never going to have that air superiority, so any sort of push from here on out is going to be a significant challenge. And he's down upgrade, so it's not like he's got a bio lead. It's a nice dive.
Yeah, no, there's
needs to
no
be more,
chance,
right?
I don't think. It's with the air superiority, HeRoMaRinE is trying to make maneuvers, but Spirit he's got sensor towers. He knows about all the moves that his opponent's making. You mentioned the 2-2 advantage, the Viking advantage. The fact that HeRoMaRinE is able to even kind of bully Spirit at all in terms of position is really just a testament to how much Spirit understands the position. And there we go. There's the GG as the counter drop comes in. One thing I will say that is really funny and is a good indicator of the two player styles is that Spirit was on like 82 workers and was like, you know what? I need more. I need more SCVs. And he pumped out another round of workers, got up to like 85 at the end. But really just great job from Spirit to shut that down and never let HeRoMaRinE actually get back into the game. But at the same time, I do appreciate that HeRoMaRinE recognized if there was any chance at all, it was just basically going all in off of, like 2.5, 3 bases.
Yeah, I guess we could say that Spirit, it was a little always slow. When Spirit gets a lead, he's not going to go try to end the game with it. He's going to go and sit there and develop a 4th and a 5th. And honestly, it's TVT. It's hard to do that anyways. But he's got all the right moves. He had them in all the right places. And yeah, HeRoMaRinE was in fact going down. But it's another game, right? It is going to be Hecate for map 2. We do have this setup where even if Spirit takes game number 1, HeRoMaRinE historically, since last Katowice, has very much dominated this matchup. There's a reason for that. HeRoMaRinE, even if he's been slumping recently, has been very good in this matchup historically in Europe as well, as you mentioned. Is that enough, though? Is that enough to kind of come back from that game where you open weird, you get nothing done? What is the fact that HeRoMaRinE had a really weird opening say about his mindset against Spirit in this matchup? Well, I don't have answers, Steadfast. I just have more questions. But But luckily, we do have one player that can figure it out, and that is the two players in this game. Hecate's ready. It's game 2. And in the upper right, in the blue, he's down a game for Mouse. It's HeRoMaRinE.
And his opponent spawning down on the bottom left for Na'Vi. It is Spirit. And to answer your question, it's funny because it usually goes one of two ways, and it's usually an extreme in one direction or the other. So it is either A, the player is extremely confident, they've got a ton of swagger, and they're like, you know what, I can do a bit of an off build, a crazy build in game number 1. It is totally fine. Maybe it catches my opponent off guard. It breaks their mental, and I can do, I can win the game from there, and then I've basically won the series because their mental is a little bit damaged. Or it's the other side of the coin, and they feel extremely not confident. Now, if this were just the first series of the day, I would actually lean towards that second. But having seen how well HeRoMaRinE played against Gumiho in the first series, and then seeing, honestly, how well he played even from a pretty terrible position in game number 1 of this series, I would say it definitely is more so that HeRoMaRinE is actually, I think, kind of feeling himself right now. Now, I don't think that means he's going to be able to win this series for sure, but it makes me excited for the rest of the series and excited for the rest of HeRoMaRinE's games.
I'll buy that. And certainly, I mean, I'm down. There are 5 series in every single group, so I'm down to, look, experiment for a game. Go do some sort of weird. It's funny we talk about this because 6 months ago, this build that HeRoMaRinE did was not. I mean, maybe going or Reaper expand into it's a little bit weird, but the Widowmine drop was not weird. That was something that we used to see. Maru did it in the finals versus Oliveira in the last Katowice, and it didn't work out, but it was very much in the meta. But ever since the Cyclone openers have happened, it's like, well, the Cyclones are better than everything else. They kind of counter everything. So it's interesting to see HeRoMaRinE try to factor old builds or old metas into the current meta. I don't think it was all that great, but again, it was interesting to see that happen. Is that now actually Spirit as well? It seems like we're just seeing a lot of players try expand builds, and we're 0 for 2 right now. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. Certainly, it's going to be delayed a little bit, but what do you think, Steadfast? Is this finally the game when you get away in some way, shape, or form with a Reaper expand?
Well, thank you for delaying the question until we saw whether that was the case or not. Because yes, HeRoMaRinE, yes, he snipes an SCV, but losing those 2 Reapers, it means he doesn't get to really do anything. He was not expecting Spirit to open up double Reaper Hellion, I think, off of this setup. And that's obviously very good for Spirit that he kind of ambushes those Reapers. It sucks a little bit that he loses the SCV and it delays his command center a little bit. It actually kind of makes up for the difference a little bit. But I definitely think Spirit is going to be pretty happy with how this has gone. He was able to skip the bunker. He still got that expansion on the low ground. So he does reap the rewards of the 1 Rax expand. But HeRoMaRinE, he will have the ability to get something done potentially with this Cyclone drop, which, well, it's the name of the game.
Yeah, it is a very, very good idea, which is why I'm asking, like, not does the Reapers cancel the command center, because that's not going to happen, but more in the meta game. Do you get enough done? Do you get enough out of this greedier opener to make it worthwhile? And for now, it's 2 dead SCVs. We're not seeing Spirit go for some crazy early drop to try to deal with things. So it's not, the drop's not getting a ton of damage done just yet, but there's just not a lot of damage from Reaper Hellion against this army. So it's going to be 6 dead SCVs. It's going to be a dead Hellion. Reapers won't die, and that means they can regen all the way back up to full, but this is almost infinite damage for HeRoMaRinE right now. So long as he doesn't lose the Cyclone, God, it's just so hard to knock down. So it's 9 dead. Well, he's going to lose 1. A little bit slow there, HeRoMaRinE. Come on, pick it up. Let's go. But it's still 9 SCVs. It is still slowing Spirit down pretty significantly. And despite Spirit going for the Reaper expand build, look at our worker count. It's 37 to 28. I would argue that no, he has not gotten away with that early expand build. That thing that means that you get your army, that means you get your attack on the map a little bit later. No, this is not justified, Spirit. This is not working out.
No, this is crippling damage, to be honest. This is a huge amount of damage right here. We do see the tank of the natural get some very good volleys on, honestly, a really unnecessary move from HeRoMaRinE. He'd already gotten big damage done. He didn't really need to force the issue in the natural, and that kind of allows Spirit to take a good couple, well, get a couple of good pickoffs. But the economic damage is so significant from these early Cyclone drops, and I mean, this is kind of an exact reversal of what's happened in game number 1 with, well, the player who made more Cyclones is up, you know, quite a few workers. The double auto turret drop on the main base will get a little bit of equalizing damage, but it's still a lead for HeRoMaRinE. Fortunately for Spirit, he did get an extremely fast third command center, so he's able to make up a little bit of that difference, and then the addition of dropping those auto turrets helps as well. But actually, do we have any Vikings here? No, we don't have any Vikings for HeRoMaRinE, but he will be able to at least keep track of his opponent's Raven. Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like if you don't open Cyclones, you're just you're just gonna have a worse time.
Yeah, so one thing I'm going to assume this is a mistake because this is Spirit and he's very, very good, but there is one Marauder that Spirit made, and you know, part of it is tech lab, whatever. I don't know if this is just like autopiloting or not, but that single Marauder tanking tank shots to try to deal with some sort of HeRoMaRinE counterattack. What do you think, mistake or actually intentional?
Nice little move right there from Spirit. Just want to point that out. He was so HeRoMaRinE was trying to bait out the auto turret shot with the Cyclone. He was kind of playing with fire, and Spirit was like, no, you play with fire, I'm gonna burn you. We do have the Cyclones, as you can see, on the other side of the map, getting picked off there. In regards to what you're talking about, I don't know.
Although it doesn't end up mattering because the Cyclone sniped it anyways. So we're going to forget that ever happened. It's not being remade, so again, likely just a bit of a mistake there, but interesting ideas, right? To have this one unit that can soak a couple tank shots or something if you're trying to go for pressure, maybe whatever, go for it, soak some Cyclone shots. Regardless, Spirit's going to try to get on top of the natural of HeRoMaRinE, section it away from the third base, knock things down like that. And HeRoMaRinE's going to scout this very quickly. But Steadfast, this doesn't really look like a lot of army right now. He's down about 20 army supply. He doesn't have the tank count. Drops are going to go on the natural. And yeah, there's a drop on the other side for HeRoMaRinE. Sure, absolutely. This pressure coming from Spirit right now seems really like a problem that HeRoMaRinE's going to have to deal with. Although, as I say that, there's not a lot dealing with this. If he can get the 1-1 upgrades, which he won't, it's a little bit too far along. But if you targeted them down earlier, knocking down attack or armor on this timing sounds like a really nice idea. But the drop in the main base, as it continues, Spirit also is going to move forward onto the third base, dive on top of this tank. And that means that this third base is wide open. So yes, Spirit is taking more damage at the start of this, but he's going to try to target this third base down. Anti-armor missile gets dropped, and that's going to try to make these SCVs, but it's just not going to do anything. Third base is dead. 20 SCVs are dead. And in the main base, the drop's going to be solved because Liberators are there, at least for the time being. Spirit, he's been behind for a large portion of this game, takes a lot of damage. But at the end of the day, he gets the third base of HeRoMaRinE, and that drop just does not get enough.
And there was a moment where that third command center was being targeted down by Spirit, and HeRoMaRinE tried to run out of his natural and got absolutely blasted by those 4 siege dub tanks of Spirit. We'll go back and we'll take a look at that on the replay. If you're all right with that, assuming this game ends quickly, I don't know that it will. We do have tanks kind of trading for tanks right there, but there was a disastrous fight for HeRoMaRinE in the natural where he ran into 4 siege dub tanks, and it really let Spirit, in addition to getting big economic damage done and equalizing the worker count, it let Spirit smash HeRoMaRinE's army, and now HeRoMaRinE is in some massive trouble. Liberator harassing on the other side of the map, doing some good work. We do have the counterattack from HeRoMaRinE. This is a desperation move at this point, but it has got a lot of potential.
I mean, there are a couple of Vikings here. Ravens are here. They're going to look for the shots, but it's not going to be all that quickly. So immediately we're going to see some of the reinforcements get shut down. Tanks get shut down. down as well,
they've
but only
taken down.
one's firing, and SCV's coming in on the flank. It's a desperation play. It looked promising, but it will not matter here, Steadfast. All the tanks are going to get shut down. Marines are going to try to show up on the third base and get more damage done there. But because the hot pickup, the tanks, it's 3 dead SCVs. Yeah, no, that's not enough. Not really.
This is a funny situation because we've got HeRoMaRiNE's got 8 medevacs in his army. I'm looking at this army supply and I'm like, man, that's a lot of army supply for HeRoMaRiNE, but it doesn't look like that much stuff per se. But he has got so many Marines and medevacs and almost nothing else. 1 siege tank, and that's it.
I mean, Spirit's going to go for a drop right now as HeRoMaRiNE looks for round 2. That's not really what you want to see. Tries to dive on top of the tanks as well. The target fire on all these Marines is blowing them sky high, but Spirit needs more. And the tanks are going to get shot down here time and time again. Into the natural, HeRoMaRiNE's going to go. He's turning this game on his head. That drop was the worst possible opportunity, the worst possible time. So SCVs are going to have to get pulled right now here. Spirit desperation, but it's not going to happen. 22 dead SCVs. All the tanks are down, and every advantage that Spirit had, he threw it away by just not having his army right there. SCVs are going to have to get pulled again, but Steadfast, HeRoMaRiNE, he's going to send us into game 3. There's nothing left.
There is not. This game was so all over the place, so back and forth. But you said it best, that double drop that Spirit tried to send out. If he has those units with him, he is totally fine. He is totally fine defending against that. Yeah, we'll take a look at that that fight I was talking about in the natural of HeRoMaRiNE. So this is that before? Oh no, that's after the fight. So you gotta go back even a little bit further.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, right about there. Yeah. So just fast forward a wee bit. It's up to about maybe like 820, give or take. Just a gigantic ambush, and I cannot believe after this fight. You can fast forward even a little bit more. After this fight, I cannot believe that HeRoMaRiNE was able to win the game. He just got absolutely obliterated by those tank shots. But somehow able to bring that game back, like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it means we get to move to game 3 behind this. If Spirit doesn't go for that drop, I think he's totally fine. The tank fire was almost enough. It was
so close. Yeah,
like
honestly, even one of those medevacs stays back. If it's a single medevac drop, I think he's fine. I think literally 8 Marines is enough. It's enough of a difference.
Yeah, that's what it was. All the remaining Marines were so low, they're just so low, right? You have a couple 8 more Marines, another medevac. I think you do clean that up, or at the very least, you get enough out of it that your reinforcements can clean up.
Yeah.
And again, with the economic lead, you're probably fine. So now we move into game 3. HeRoMaRiNE wins the game he shouldn't have won. Spirit won game 1, a game that he should have won. What do you think happens in the third?
I mean, which player makes more Cyclones? No, I'm kidding. I'm not entirely kidding. The Cyclones have done very well in the early stages. It's cool that we've still had the games go into like a state of flux where it didn't completely decide it, but it definitely gave each player a big advantage. And I mean, yeah, we'll just get into it and we'll see.
There we are. So in the bottom right, he won a game he should not have won. He lost a game that he probably should have lost. In game 3, it's HeRoMaRiNE.
And his opponent spawning up at the top left with a gas first. Maybe it's another one racks expand for Na'Vi. It is Spirit.
Steadfast.
And
this is Spirit sending a message to us as casters, telling us that we are full of hot air. So the gas could, this is a personal attack. Anyways, you were saying something actually important about the game.
No, I mean, yeah, of course. That's the whole thing. We are full of hot air, and we have to express it. That's just us commentating, is just pushing that hot air out. But yeah, I don't know. This is surprising. the fact that this is what, our 5th TBT, and we've had 4 one racks expands. Is that right? 3 or 4?
3. I think it was only one Reaper expand, one single rack expand in the Gumio series. I don't think.
Yeah, but it was 1 in each game so far.
True.
HeRoMaRinE did it in game 1. Spirit did it in game 2, and now Spirit's done it again in game 3. Yeah, so 4 out of 5. I mean, I guess you could say 4 out of a possible 10 build orders, 4 out of a possible 10 openers have been one rack to expand. That's a lot higher frequency than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think of HeRoMaRinE as a player that proxy 2 racks is very often. I don't think of Spirit as a player that proxy 2 racks is all that often. But still, it's very surprising and super worth noting that, while specifically doing it in game 3 is very bold, especially with Spirit down 0-1 in his series scoreline. It's bold. Ooh, this could be a little bit interesting. Okay, there was no high ground advantage. Actually, it's Spirit who gets an extra shot right here, so we will drive this back. That's important. I was talking about in a previous series how if you lose an early Reaper, you can lose the game in TBT. That's not so much a thing anymore, but if you've gone one racks expand, it certainly is. Now, what Spirit has also done, in addition to pushing this back, he denied HeRoMaRinE Scout. HeRoMaRinE does not know this is a one racks expand, so the desire to punish obviously is not going to be as strong if you don't know that there's a one racks expand.
Yeah, and when we talk about this as well, you talk about the meta story of Spirit's down a series, HeRoMaRiNE's up a series. If Spirit doesn't win this, I'm not saying he's out of the group. You can still go 3-2 from 0-2, but he will have gone 0-2 against 2 players that are maybe 3rd place, maybe 4th place, maybe like, or probably our expectations is 3rd place at the minimum. He's going to try to dive up the high ground, but there is no doing on that one. So, like, this is... I'm not saying that this game right now is Spirit's life in the group, because again, you can make comebacks, you can advance on 2-3. Probably not in this group, but possible. Even still, as much as HeRoMaRiNE winning this series is likely him advancing, not confirmed, but it makes it very, very likely. In a similar situation, Spirit's kind of got to win this game to make sure that he still has a good opportunity to advance in the group. And for right now, he gets away with the natural for the time being. Puts that down very early. And this is actually, I think this is going to be the first game of all of our Reaper expand, all of our single racks expand builds where we're not really seeing it get punished before the first 4 minutes. I hear he's going to try, but there's just, at this point, it's paid off. The production's there. There's not enough to properly break this down.
No, and if he tries, he's potentially just going to lose some of his early game units. So yeah, Spirit is going to consolidate this one rack expand advantage. We're not seeing a Cyclone drop to follow it up from HeRoMaRiNE. In fact, it's going to be very fast tanks into a fast 3rd CC, which I do like from HeRoMaRiNE as a method to try and make up for the difference. It's not like a game winning advantage having a 3 or 4 worker lead, but it is significant. And Spirit behind it, he builds his own fast 3rd CC. This is a pretty solid situation from Spirit. The fact that there's no punish from HeRoMaRiNE whatsoever, obviously very good news for the Polish Terran. And personally, I don't have a horse in this race on who I would like to win, but if Spirit wins this, it makes the group much more interesting in my eyes.
Yeah, look, give me everyone being at like 2-2 going into day 3.
Yeah, going into day 3.
Oh, yeah.
That's the stuff.
Majority of 3-game series, so like map scores are pretty tight as well. Like, give me that. I don't know if it's likely. I don't know that it's possible, but we talked about this on Real Talk Strategy last week going into this. Group A is by far the most flat group, right? You look at this and like, Solar probably wins the group. Oh, okay, fine. You know, he's won GSL Season 3. But you kind of look at this and pretty much anyone can advance in 3rd place. Anyone can advance in 2nd. Anyone can advance in 1st. I don't really have it's the opposite of Group D, where Group D is just the group of death, and it's like I don't know what's happening. I just know Cyan's dead. Aww. This one, poor Cyan, and this one is just very much anyone can do it. But now the Reapers, they're gonna shut down the supply depot for a little bit, try to get some damage done. But Cyclones do a lot of damage steadfast. They're gonna knock this down for the most part. Not really gonna get much done. But HeRoMaRiNE also has a Cyclone in the natural, I think. Yeah, it's just going to sacrifice its life for a single SCV. Not really worthwhile. And now this Reaper should die too, because the Cyclone's going to return eventually. this Reaper should die steadfast. It shouldn't get a couple SCVs. It shouldn't get 5 SCVs. This is, wait up, what? No, it's gonna get.
Oh my God.
Oh my. This is not acceptable. I demand a refund. This is not okay.
That was a lot of damage for one Reaper. Spirit really lost track of that. That is a big deal. And something else that Spirit has lost track of, he did not start his 1-1. He's just now started the +1 attack. Needs to start that +1 armor desperately. HeRoMaRinE is so far ahead in the upgrades here. Oh my God. And another Reaper comes in. That, oh God, that should not have happened. Spirit really fumbling the bag there. And he's going to lose another SCV, maybe. No, okay, just the one. Still, yeesh. That should not be happening right there.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't think it matters, but technically it's delaying the barracks and the pressure's hitting it before the barracks is done. There's just too much here, so it's not really gonna matter. But
here's another couple SCVs though.
Yeah, and HeRoMaRiNE's got his 1-1 ready. Oh. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying that's not nothing. Getting a couple of SCVs because your opponent wasn't really set up. Spirit seems to be struggling a little bit with some of the basics here in game number 3. Hopefully this isn't an indication of, like, you know, getting a little bit nervous. This is him playing in front of his home crowd. He has been a player that struggled in the past. We are going to see a bunch of interference matrices coming on in. All 4 tanks getting shut down. Good anti-armor missile, but there's nothing to shoot for Spirit. HeRoMaRinE gonna try and smash on through. Siege tanks will wake back up, and this will be a hold from Spirit. And honestly, a pretty good one at that. But 13 SCVs go down. There's no combat shields for Spirit. He is very much behind right now in this game economically and positionally as well.
I mean, I think you just lift the orbital here. You're in a, I mean, I like the Liberator counterattack. The Marines are roughly in position, so it's not going to get a ton, but at least it does distract HeRoMaRinE for a time being. But I was going to say, yeah, just lift the orbital. You're just taking more damage than you should. It's not like you're going to be mining off of it. And eventually Spirit's going to have 1-1. Eventually Spirit's going to have combat shields. His army supply is equivalent. I think at this point, you just got to do that thing that we see top Terrans do where this base is under threat. So you just float the orbital off to the north side and say, this is fine. I'm going to float my orbital to where you're not. But instead, he's going to put it back. More importantly, he's got a counterattack on the way. Army supplies are somewhat equivalent. And because so much Raven energy was spent trying to shut down Spirit's tanks, there should be, actually, there are no Ravens. So there's a significant Raven advantage that Spirit has right now. Problem is, as he wants to make this pressure happen, HeRoMaRiNE's scouting line, these random Marines on the map are seeing everything. And what does HeRoMaRinE do? When he sees the army on the map, he beelines onto the other side. He wants to end this game right now. Spirit's going to see some of this. He's going to catch some of these Marines maybe, drops Marines on top of him, sees the rest of the army, but it gives HeRoMaRinE an opportunity to siege everything up. So now tries to get on top. 2 tanks are going to get shut down. This is going to be the game maybe for Spirit as he tries to run forward, but the tanks will fall down for HeRoMaRinE eventually. Spirit's able to hold on for the time being. It's just enough. HeRoMaRinE, though, still, that's a hefty supply lead.
It is a hefty supply lead. The siege tanks in the middle. Spirit, oh, he gets caught unsieged, and that almost certainly will be the game there. There it is. GG gets called. HeRoMaRinE playing with a ton of confidence. Forces the base trade. Spirit was super indecisive there in that game number 3. You could tell he wanted to be decisive, but he just couldn't bring himself to commit. He was kind of hemmed and hawed. He spotted a counterattack. HeRoMaRinE was a lot more confident with his army movement, and eventually Spirit just crumbled. Very well done from HeRoMaRinE, and now Spirit is in a ton of trouble in this group, and HeRoMaRinE is all but clinched a spot in the playoffs.
I don't know that I want to go that far. You know, Trigger's currently 1-1 with Gumiho. So Trigger's got a 61% PVT win rate per what the mainstream said before that series started. I pay attention. Importantly, I don't know that this is totally locked up because I think HeRoMaRinE still struggles against Solar. I think that Scarlet is I think it's going to be very interesting to see what he does against Scarlet. She's got that hot new Mass Hydra Infestor style that, hey, she beat Beyond 3 times. She beat Beyond quite a bit with it in their practice. So who knows what's going to happen with that one. It's a very good opportunity for HeRoMaRinE to advance right now. He only has to win one more series to lock it in. Most likely, he can still maybe advance on a 2-3 scoreline. especially going 2-0-2-1 there, building that nice map advantage. But I wouldn't say it's, I'd say like 85%. 85% he's through. I think that's probably
I would say if HeRoMaRinE went into this, coming out of it with an 85% chance of making it through, I think he'd be pretty happy about that. That's for damn sure. I know that I doubted HeRoMaRinE coming into this one, and he is definitely delivering. Very, very well done. Like I don't think it's over by any stretch, but I think with 2 wins in the series and him going up against Trigger, against Scarlet, I think he's an odds-on favorite to make it out of this group for sure.
Yeah, I'd give him, I think I said 85%. That is,
mm-hmm.
No one takes those odds. No, very few people take the odds against that, right? And it's like, you big payout, but 15%, probably not worth doing. That being said, we do have more games on the way, but day 1, or at least Group A, is done with for the time being. But, and actually Steadfast, even more importantly than Group A being done, we don't have a TVT next. We're going to have more. We're going to have Oliver and Bunny later on, but for right now, it's Bunny and Shin coming up after the break as we take a look at the player that you and I don't know what to think about when we talk about Shin. He's this player that is good, certainly, but I think underestimated by a lot of people. Bunny's kind of that same way, so we will be back in just about as long as it takes to get things set up. Don't have an ETA just yet, but we'll be back soon enough.